previous history and this year's current inductees. I encourage you to take a look at it when you have a moment this weekend. Our inductees have already spent some time at the display as we met at 5 o'clock this evening to look at it. It's that time in our program when we will be introducing you to the 3 inductees representing the class of 2012 in our Athletics Hall of Fame. The decisions about who's inducted into the Hall of Fame are made by a committee composed of individuals who know a great deal about our athletic history and are learning a great deal more as we continue to consider candidates. As you might imagine, decisions are tough ones to make. From a group of nominees numbering over 50, we narrowed it down to 15 and then selected our inductees from that pool of finalists. The members of the committee are on the inside of the front cover of today's event program. For those of you who serve on the Hall of Fame committee who are in attendance tonight, would you please be so kind as to stand and be recognized for the service that you've given to the selection process. Thank you. One of the changes in this year's ceremony is that the committee felt it would be nice for each inductee to choose their own presenter. In short, I did such a bad job the last couple of years I got fired. So I will introduce each presenter, and they in turn will introduce our inductee. And after presenting each inductee with their plaque, the inductee will be given an opportunity to make a few brief remarks. Presenting Reenie Amos will be Sally Baum. Sally has worked for Goucher for over 30 years now, and is our senior woman administrator and head tennis coach. Sally had the privilege of coaching both Reenie and Betsy. She has been close to Reenie's family from the moment she met him, and Sally has been the principal driving force behind our annual Reenie Amos road race that takes place on Family Weekend every year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sally Baum to the podium.
Thank you, Jeff, and welcome everyone. It is an honor and great privilege to have been asked by her family to introduce Reenie Amos to you as part of the class of 2012 Goucher College Athletics Hall of Fame. As you can see in the program, Reenie's accomplishments were many. But we know that the measure of a person can never be told with statistics alone. The story of who Reenie was is so much more. Reenie's father, George, recently reminded me of the words I wrote in 1993 when we gave Reenie the prestigious Coaches Award, and those words still resonate today. And I quote, "As her coaches, we only hope that once in our own careers we come across an athlete who transcends the games, who embodies everything you would want in a student athlete. Reenie is that one. Heart and soul, she represents athletics at its best. We have all said to one another, how in the world do you ever replace a Reenie? The answer is, you don't." End quote. I was very privileged to have her on the tennis team for 4 years, but tennis for that first spring was supposed to be Reenie's fun sport. Something she did in the season that wasn't field hockey or basketball. What I quickly find out was that the word fun had to be defined differently for Reenie, the athlete. Fun to her was being challenged, competing and working hard to understand a sport that, from a strategic standpoint, was virtually new to her. She was frustrated by tennis, and that only made her want to play harder. She could not understand how others who had played tennis their whole lives could possibly win a match against her. Wasn't her competitiveness enough to offset their vast head start of experience? That's the way she approached it, and with Reenie, eventually it was enough. She moved from number 8 in our singles lineup to number 2 her senior year, where she only lost a couple of matches. Few players make that great a leap, but if anyone was going to do it, trust me, it was going to be Reenie. One of the most amazing parts of her legacy can be witnessed every year at the Reenie race, now an important Goucher tradition during Family Weekend, that is going on its 20th year this fall. The stories that have been shared from people who knew her are usually poignant and humorous and full of meaning. I believe the race came about and is sustained by the ways in which Reenie impacted both Goucher and the people with whom she came in contact. Reenie just didn't appear out of thin air. She came from a close family where sports and competition was part of the fabric. I really didn't know Reenie's family until we began working together on the race. If there is a message in how there can be hope, joy, meaning, friendship, and purpose after a heartbreaking loss, this is it. To George and Elaine family, thank you for staying with Goucher over the years and helping to carry on Reenie's memory through this amazing event, which now benefits multiple students every year. Finally, the impact of Reenie to this day comes from the fact that she never shied away from setting high goals and trying to achieve them, even if they were unrealistic. Words like intense or drive for excellence only begin to give you a glimpse of how determined she was in all phases of her life. Her energy and rather enthusiastic approach to just about anything created some legendary memories. We should all be so fortunate to be able to live long enough, and do enough to have such a lasting impact. Rainey didn't need very long. She left everything on the field, the court, the classroom, the bus, the dinner, the dorm, the library, the grocery store. Everything turned into a venture because of how she lived her life. We gravitate toward those people because they take us with them on a wonderful ride. And trust me, it was a wonderful ride. It is a true honor and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to George Amos, who will accept on behalf of Rainey Amos her induction into the Goucher College Athletics Hall of Fame, class of 2002.
One is reflection and one is appreciation. Reflection, my strong reflection kind of ties into what Sally talked about. I remember the phone call I got from Rainey when she talked about the Coaches Award and how it made such an impact on her. And she called me, I was up in Canada, and read it to me. And it left a lasting impression with her. And she was most appreciative because of the kind words. Appreciation is kind of connected with that. She was very appreciative of what the coaches did for her. And I'd just like to name some of them, because if she was standing here, I think she would name them. And some of these names you won't remember because it's been 20 years. But there was a fellow named Rick Mina, who was her first basketball coach. He lasted 1 year. He was so enthusiastic, he was such a salesman. I don't think she would come here without the way he presented Goucher as a great opportunity, even though he had a team that won no games the year before, and the year that she was there, they didn't do so well either. Jean Goldsboro was her first field hockey coach. Then she had Andrea Bradley, who took them on to be a very good team, and she learned a lot from them. Her second basketball coach was Jean Greenwald, who really helped turn the team around, and she learned a lot from her. Her coach the last 2 years was Noelle Naron, who is here with us today, and she helped teach this point guard how a big person thinks underneath. It was a good combination. And she grew and learned a lot, and I know she would be thanking those coaches, and that's why I wanted to mention it. I think she would also thank all the players, because through them and with them, they had a lot of fun, met challenges, and had a sense of satisfaction. I finally would like to just extend some appreciation to all the people who are here, family, friends, some of which have come a long distance, and that show of remembrance to read is very much appreciated. We have people from New York, New England area, Copenhagen, how could I forget Rex? And these folks have stayed in touch with us over the years, and we appreciate it. And it's not only just in college, but also back to many of our high school friends and so forth. And they've come up to me and said hi. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Gerard Garlick was a teammate of Dave Clark's. In fact, I don't think Gerard would have come to Goucher had it not been for Dave. Gerard can certainly take credit for some of the points that David scored, as he passed the ball a fair amount during the time that they played together. Since graduating, Gerard has been a collegiate coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur, and most recently is serving as the Associate Director of Residence Life at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. Please join me in welcoming Gerard Garlick to the podium to introduce Dave Clark for induction into our Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I had a whole lot to say about Dave, because I have known Dave since 1986. when he was 13 years old, and met him on the basketball court, and he challenged me to a one-on-one game. Of course, he lost that game. I think that was last week. And I don't think I've beaten him since then, though. But that whole summer that I was staying in Catonsville with one of my best friends, I met up with Dave many times and we played basketball, and I took him to different courts. And he was quite shy. As we all know, when he got here, he was still a shy guy who ran away from the spotlight for the most part. And so we went around and I taught him, showed him, helped him with his game. And I live in New Jersey, so when I moved back to New Jersey, we continued to write each other. That's paper and pen for those kids nowadays. And with a strange twist of fate, I moved back to Maryland in '90. And Dave Clark was on this AAU team that someone asked me to coach. Now by this time, Dave Clark has grown to be 6'3". So in 4 years, he grew about 7 inches. And I didn't recognize him at first, but he recognized me. And he came up to me, gave me a hug. And so ever since then, I've been coaching him. Indirectly, I guess, coaching him. We played many games together. And it's true that I would not probably have been here at Goucher without Dave Clark and Coach Kaplan, actually. Those two got together and asked me to come to Goucher. And so I have had 3 great years with Dave Clark. He was my teammate and roommate. And so I truly enjoyed. He was also the silent captain on our team because he didn't like yelling at anyone. So I had that job as we were co-captains. He has been a great friend and a father to his family, I know. I talk to him all the time. And it's with great pleasure that I'm honored to introduce Dave Clark into the Hall of Fame in 2012.
You know, I have a beautiful daughter here who carries my hair much better than I do. Beautiful. So, yeah, I'm nervous. Pretty amazing. So, yeah, the first thing I want to do is just thank God for blessing my life, and thank Jeff and Chris Trevino for recruiting me and bringing me here to Goucher. Without him, there's no way I would have been here, and the athletic department and the Hall of Fame committee for giving me this great honor, and everyone who has come today. And, you know, when I was thinking about what to write, I just kept thinking about what am I going to write when I'm up here, and I wasn't really sure what to put down and what kind of things. And every time I was thinking about what I would write, all I remember were the people. I never remember any stat, some games, but not really nothing. All I remember was the people and the opportunities I got to play with my teammates and the people I met here at Goucher, and the friends and the family and fans and everyone else. So I figured I'd just share some stories about memories that I had of the people and playing basketball, which was like the context for which we were able to become great friends, even though we move on in our lives. We always have bonds through basketball and being teammates and friends through that. So I was thinking about what are some of the things, you know, that I did with playing basketball with my friends. So like playing up in Philly UPenn with Joe, playing out there on the playground, and playing with Gerard when we were young. And Gerard still has the greatest dunk of all time that I've ever seen in my entire life. We were playing in Baltimore City in this league called Project Survival.